Thank you for staying with us. The Nigerian Capital Development Fund, that's the NCDF, has launched a $1 billion investment program to drive economic growth and sustainable development across Nigeria. The initiative, which is already underway, will be implemented through a combination of public-private partnerships, blended finance structures, and diaspora capital mobilization. It is designed to align with Nigeria's national development priorities and the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. The NCDF has identified 6 strategic sectors for investment, including renewable energy, affordable housing, healthcare, infrastructure, agriculture, financial inclusion services, and startup and innovation financing. Well, joining us in the studio is the Executive Chairman of the Nigeria Capital Development Fund, Harrieta Oralusi, who will share more insight on this initiative. Good morning.
Good morning.
It's good to have you join us.
Thank you.
Now, let's begin with what you are quoted as saying about this initiative, that it is more than an investment program. It is a commitment to unlocking Nigeria's vast potential by addressing the country's most pressing development needs through structured capital and impactful partnership. We need you to expatiate on that, especially how this differs or complements what the government is already doing at both the federal and state levels.
Okay, thank you.
Right.
Good morning.
Morning.
Basically, the objective of NCDF as an institution is to support the government developmental objectives. So all our investments align with the government's success as well. So, and also as an impact investing organization, we do seek 2 returns on our investments: financial gain and the social impact. So when you look at the 2, and the responsibility of the government is also to provide the social safe net in the society. So NCDF objective completely aligned with the goal of the government. And in view of that, with the, having this synergy of collaboration, of looking to achieve the same, basically the same objective in the area of social impact in the communities. So we're able to collaborate well, and we're able to integrate our financial structure into the federal government and the state government financial framework. One is we're aligning this to the $1 trillion financial, $1 trillion economy, which was recently announced by the Federal Ministry of Finance, and also aligning with the National Integrated Financial Framework of the SDG, Millennium Development Goal. And this $1 billion will also be part of that, of what is going to be, summed together for us to achieve $1 trillion economy in Nigeria. But for us, we bring 2 benefits to our investors. 1, we give them the financial return. 2, they are also contributing to the national development, the national growth of our society. And to the government, we are technically supporting them to achieve their own developmental objective by investing in the area, in the sector that develops human capacity and reduces poverty in the society.
Okay, my take, I'm always thinking about the man on the street. How does he understand all these things? Because when you say $1 billion US, the first thing that comes to his head is that, no, this doesn't concern me. How does the man in the street that, let's say a small business owner or something like that, how does he participate in this? How does he benefit from it?
Okay, I'm going to look at that in the 2 areas. 1, when you say $1 billion investment program, we not create nothing less than 1 million jobs.
All right.
So for a lay person, there's opportunity of job creation. When we're creating jobs, the opportunity of employment.
Okay.
As an institution, currently we're recruiting over 1,000 staffs for this project across the country. So definitely it has a direct impact in job creation. Very straightforward, direct. And that's also part of the metrics to make sure the social return of our investment. Number 2, we believe that one of our programs is called, which we are working in partnership with the federal government and the state government currently, is to support the startup companies. We have the global objective of creating 1,000 startup companies, unicorn startup companies. Okay. Or the young person there who has a very good initiative, who has a very good innovation, can walk into the program and apply for the program. And if such people, the project is scalable, we will invest as an equity partner. Okay. And what that means is that we are not giving loan or is not looking for equity contribution. All we say is that, okay, this is the cost of the project. We will put in the money. We will be part of your board. We will be a member of your company. As a startups, we will provide you technical assistance, capacity development. Then you run the company. And at the end of the day, we become an equity partner. And after 5 years, we exit. Okay. So creating 1,000 startup companies. Also, we have a huge recurring impact on job creation as well, and local economic development. So it's it's really targeting the grassroots, really. If you look at it from that perspective.
That's right. So it's one thing for you to bring up different, areas where it's another thing for you to get quality hands that will do the job, because there is actually shortage of skilled professionals in sectors like healthcare and renewables. So what strategies, what measures are you bringing on board to ensure that you're able to get from what we do not have, even though we have teeming unemployed people, but skilled professionals? How do you intend on, bringing these people on board?
Well, for me, I've said it here before as well about human capacity development is very critical in any society. And also, you could see that federal government is also looking at that and they've just created a platform for youth to create human capacity development for a certain number of people. Yeah. But for us, what we're doing is that take them young. We're collaborating with universities. Okay. So we're collaborating with different universities right now, and we are actually identifying talents and grooming them. At our level, we do not believe that we can get it fixed or get a fixed society. We are developmental in nature. So we're preparing, and that's the recurring impact, or that is the consequence of being an impact investing institution. You have to understand that you have to build. You don't have to expect that everything is ready for you. So we have to build. And building on the young, investing on the young people is the way to go for Nigeria. Yeah. We have quite a lot of talented young people in our society, but they do not have the opportunity. Yeah. So if we're able to concentrate on getting these young people to access different programs. Currently, there's so many programs, BOI, federal government, Ministry of this. Yeah. So if they could channel NCDF, if they could all access this program, in another 5 years, the situation would not be the same. And you can also, this JAPA stuff that is going, syndrome is also reducing, because the reality is coming, and those organizations or those countries are also tightening up their models, which the best thing for any young Nigerians now is to start a career in the country and to build a sector where they can grow.
Interesting. Now, there are about six strategic sectors that are involved for this investment initiative. We have renewable energy, affordable housing, healthcare infrastructure, agriculture, financial inclusion, services and startup, as well as innovation financing. Talk to us why the choice of these sectors.
Well, like you've answered it before, is what makes direct impact in the community. Those are the sectors that can make direct impact in the community. For example, affordable housing. You see, for an impact investor, let me make a very simple example. Right. If an impact investors have $10 million to invest, and you want to invest in real estate, you have a choice to buy just one property at Ikoyi, just build a one high-rise, and you can sell it and make your money. But for an impact investor, you will not make that choice. You will go to a developing community, you buy the land, and that's the same amount can build minimum of about 500 or 600 or even up to 1,000 houses unit. Yeah. So when you are building 1,000 housing units, you know how many jobs you're going to create. That's where the impact comes in. Right. You know how many jobs, you know how many people that will live in there. Every average of one family for 4 children and this and that.
That's if it's affordable.
Yes, that's why it's called affordable housing. There must be mechanisms between the state, investor, and everyone to make it affordable, because there must be intervention. That's why you can't really do an affordable housing without the support of the government.
Yeah.
Right.
Because there must certain incentives that will be given to you to reduce the cost for making those property affordable. But what I'm saying is that for you to do that, you must be able to look at your returns not only because you are going to make money, but you also have to look at the impact return. And the good thing is, the question is it profitable? Yes, it is very profitable. It can be it's as compete as any other company, because if you build 1,000 houses, if your margin on each house is 1 million, multiply by 1,000. Vis-a-vis, you are just building one building of 6 flats in Ikoyi. You could see that. Then when it comes to sustainability or financial crisis or risk analysis,
Yes.
you have 1,000 units. So if anything happens tomorrow, the prices will not reduce like it's going to be affecting just one building. So when you say impact, Nigerians need to understand that we need to start thinking of using our investment to make impact in our community, because it doesn't mean you are not going to get less income. It's just that you are more responsible. You become a more responsible investor in the society.
Yes.
But when it comes to reality of figures, you might actually be more profitable than the other one. But you might have to face more logistics. You might have to put more effort to achieve A and B. You need more negotiation. You need collaboration. You need to meet government. You need to negotiate. Whereby you just go here and you buy, you build and sell. You understand? But if you are able, you know the mission is to develop. So you wouldn't mind those things you need to face for your society to get better, for your country to be better.
Before you ask your question, the aspect of healthcare, we know that primary healthcare is a major challenge in Nigeria. I'm wondering if it is primary healthcare we're looking at for this initiative, or we're just looking at something different. Just
Yes. Primary healthcare is included. We're working with federal government, a very important agency right now, on the issue of primary health care. And what we're trying to do is that how do we use private sector to drive primary health care? How do we get incentives from government, and how do we get HMO for the people in the community that they can even, the private sector could drive primary health care, they can work in with the insurance and get basic health support, having access to quality health care. And the private sector driver will also make sustainable income from the services.
That's right.
So this is the area we're looking about primary care. We need to understand that to develop a country like Nigeria, it requires the participation of private sector and the public to drive most of these initiatives. Subsidy is not issue. Subsidy has to be, or save net or cash net. All this has to be reviewed, because there's a lot of other ways we can channel into the health, into the education, to make them sustainable. And that young doctor who graduated yesterday, who actually own his own hospital through PPP or through a franchise program to run his own, because when he's sure that there's going to be good revenue, and he's also going to be able to make impact in community. So these are new business models that could be adopted for sustainability of primary health care and many other sectors such as education.
I tend to relate to what you just said about the young doctor that just graduated, because I have a friend who is practicing outside Nigeria, but he does those little things, the slight headache, the cut in the hands and all that. And it's real thriving business for him. But back to what we are discussing, renewable energy and agriculture are the areas that catch my interest. Renewable energy connotes that we are going to do a lot of investment in rural areas. Agriculture also connotes that we're going to do quite a number of investments in rural areas. But the reality we have right now is that farmers really can't go to farm, because of the security challenge. So did you include that in your planning?
Yes, we include it, but you see, our core area, we currently focus on our core area and trying to establish where it is sustainable at the moment. That's the reality, because you see, these are investors' funds, and we cannot take risk, because we government and security agencies, we work in collaboration with them, we visit, but at the same time, there's a serious risk management when it comes to an investment. But what I can say there is that for us, there are many areas where people can go to farm. And there are more political issues around insecurity as well. So, but in our own case, we actually deal more in adding value to agricultural produce.
Okay.
In terms of what we are creating is called agro-industrial parks, where we can add value to an existing agricultural produce. We are currently working on one in Lagos State, where we can build agro-industrial park, and the young people can come in and process it and also export it for earning.
Yeah, you're talking about the agro hub in, is it Ekpe?
Exactly, we're working on that. So these are the area we're looking into agriculture now, not into the area of the farming side of it. But even the one we have now, how do we add values to it to earn instead of getting raw materials exported overseas? Yes. So that is the area we focus on. But I'm also sure that the people working on the farming side of it are doing well. They are doing well. Yes, there are challenges of insecurity. There are challenges all over the world. So it's not peculiar to Nigeria. But we have to have this spirit to see that, okay, this is our reality. Then how do we solve this problem? Somebody told me that in Malaysia, they used to have a lot of this weather problem, this climate issue, thunders and earthquake. And they said because of that, they are the best in building high-rise. So they build 100 stories high-rise, and even if there is thunder or earthquake, it won't be affected. They learn, they use the problem, they solve the problem and become an expert. So we need to now start learning how to turn our problems
how to become an expert
instead of complaining and making it a challenge for us. We need to move forward in our country.
Right. If you look at this program which you're talking about, it actually emphasizes the diaspora capital mobilization framework.
Yes.
So I'm wondering how, because $1 billion investments, it's something that is quite huge. So how do you get people outside of the country, the diaspora community, to come in to invest on this particular initiative? That's on the one hand. And they are skeptical about another thing, that large-scale investment programs like this in Nigeria is often fraught with mismanagement, corruption, etc. What are the strategies in bringing them and assuring them that their investment is safe and it's going to be bereft of corruption or mismanagement?
Okay, thank you very much. Number one, I would like to say that we are a regulated company. We are regulated organizations. We have different portfolio companies, and they are all licensed institutions. So, for example, our investment is regulated by Security and Exchange Commission. They work with us as a development partner, and they also help us in structuring our funds, right? So we meet all the corporate governance, we apply for licenses, we go through all the necessary process to have a sustainable fund management business. Two is that for us, we are looking at it 1 billion, but when you begin to look at what can the 1 billion do in the area, in the sectors we are looking at, it might not do more than 10 projects. For example, to view the standard agro-industrial park in Lagos State that would do all that we're talking about will cost you between $50 to $100 million. To do 100 megawatts of renewable energy, it will cost you about $200 million. So these are key sectors. They sound little, but they are really capital intensive. Very capital intensive. So it's not that it's going to be so large as the way we are looking at it. They are really capital intensive sector. If we have to invest in 1,000 startup companies to build them, you can't invest nothing less than $100 million. If you want it to be significant and you want to build those startups to the unicorn level. Because it's a time now that we start building new millionaires in Nigeria. We have been hearing names before, and that's the name we keep hearing. At what point? But if you look at United States economy that we try to copy or we try to follow, every year there are new millionaires. You see this year there is Facebook come up, next year you see Twitter, another year you see. So why? It's because they have a very successful, thriving private equity and venture capital model that works. And that is our own objectives, right? Okay, and that's what can produce you is not only by giving, there is a way to give people money to survive or to do a small scale business. There's a way to start a business that will be scalable to become level of unicorn. And you can see that it's not new. You can see some brilliant Nigerians already at the unicorn level, like Femi from Flutterwave and many other young people.
Right.
They've achieved that already. So it's achievable to build new millionaires in our society so that every year we are adding to the numbers. So when you look at all these things, they are very, very capital intensive. But the truth is that they are very profitable.
Right. So
as you can see from America that I just gave, people that invested in Facebook at the beginning, how much they invest, how much they what today.
Because of our time, I'm looking at the matter of inclusivity now, looking at regional disparities and differences. Because you mentioned Lagos, so I'm wondering if this whole project would just be domiciled in Lagos and that we're not looking at other parts of the country, because that is always a matter for a lot of persons.
I will use the startup program. It's called Fortune Entrepreneur as a case study. For example, we are having summit in 6 geopolitical zones. The first one we're proposing is in Edo State. It's not even Lagos, for South-South. The second person likely to be in Kaduna for Northwest or Nasarawa states, where there's going to be accelerator during this program and summit, after which they can now have access to such equity funding opportunity. So it is this 6 geopolitical zone where we mobilize each young people from each zones to attend their geopolitical zone program, and that's where we'll be able to identify those young people. They eventually bring them together as a national startup hubs, where then they will be able to access such equity investment opportunity. So it's then our affordable housing is in 20 states. Lagos is not even there.
Really?
No. Because there's a lot of development every day in Lagos.
Really, teeming population?
Yeah, but you see, the private sector is thriving in Lagos State very well, to be realistic with you. It's just the problem is affordability, and I think the government of Lagos State is working really on that as well, to make sure that these properties are affordable. But we're looking at the areas where there are lack of such investment. So Lagos State is not part of it. So it's not about Lagos State. Our renewable energy, I don't think Lagos State is also there. No.
Are you asking us to start thinking of leaving Lagos?
Lagos State. So I just want to make sure that we get
interesting. Right. Okay. Go ahead.
Well, if you want to talk to me that lives in the United States, I'm a Nigerian and I'm doing business in the United States and I'm looking for investments in Nigeria, what will you tell me? How would you convince me to put my money in this?
Well, I just did a video recently, maybe I'll send it to you, which I told people that, look, I am a Nigerian and diaspora. I was diaspora too. But even when I was diaspora, I didn't come back to Nigeria because I wasn't doing well. I run one of the best companies overseas as a Nigerian till today. But there's always this thing that tells me you can do better in your home country. The problem is that people are too occupied with our challenges. And people are too occupied with the fears and the news of negative. It's the right time we begin to think positive about our society. Everywhere there is risk. I invested in one of the European countries recently, and I lost the money. I lost the country. It's a huge investment, which I will not want to make mention of, in healthcare, because from an English company, we extended to that country. And but because we have an agreement on non-disclosure of the crisis, which is signed between our company and that government, that's why I'm not able to talk about it. But my experience, it's a big lesson for me to know that there's no perfect society. Politically, they brought the business down because we were doing well, and as a black man coming to their country and doing this, they couldn't accept it. A standard European country, which I will not want to mention. Look, let's forget about that. We're too sentimental. Challenges are everywhere. We have challenges in Nigeria, yes, but which country also can you strive if you know what you are doing? It's also Nigeria. So the risk is there, but the prospect is huge. The prospect of Nigeria is huge. I will encourage everyone who wants to do it to do their own work. That's the critical thing. Yes. You can't say you are coming back to Nigeria, you went back to your village, you started asking people that are non-actor in the sector, they started giving you a guideline and you lose your money. That's not the way business is done. You need to be able to pay for professionals Just the way you would do it in another country. Because your own country doesn't mean you will not follow. Because you are talking about business.
Yes.
Forget sentiment. Get the professional, get the people in the industry that you can lay your hands on. Let them do you a quality business plan, feasibility studies, analysis. Get involved with government. Make sure you are regulated. Make sure you get, because by the time you get to regulator and this and that,
That's right.
by the time you see what they put together for you, you will realize that you are going the wrong. So most of the businesses that have this issue they're talking about in Nigeria are informal.
That's right. I'm not sure whether we have much more time.
So
if you can
I
do
think
this,
they need to learn,
if you can do this in under less than a minute. The thing is, you have about 6 of them, 6 different programs under this initiative. Are you not biting off more than you can chew? Why don't you? I'm just thinking, focus on a narrow, narrow or let's say broader strategy in addressing narrow issues.
Okay, thank you very much. Like I said to you, this is a venture capital fund management model.
Yeah.
All those initiatives are run by independent portfolios. They run by companies. For instance, me as its chairman, I recruit everywhere. I recruit in the plane for CEOs, I recruit in the restaurants, I can recruit here now. When I see you having the talent, can you run this sector? So it's not about us as one organization. We have 18 portfolio companies that run different things sustainably. Corporate governance, those companies that are licensed to be fund management, they are there, their team are there. Those companies that are in agriculture, they are there. So that's what the venture capital. And I'll give you an example. Warren Buffett owns 1,500 companies.
Unfortunately, our time is up. But it's a fine place to leave this conversation. I believe anybody that wants to be a part of all of this that you have mentioned will know where to get the right information for them to participate. But thank you, Executive Chairman of the Nigeria Capital Development Fund, Hereta Oralusi, for your time.
Thank you very much. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
See you some other time.
Right. Just hold on for a bit.